Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Kaiwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel, starting off with the 144,000, which would be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, which would be all men, right? The 144,000, which are the top of the 1/3, right? Which most of the 1/3 will be men, women, and children. There'll be believers here in America that will be saved. 2/3 of our people here in America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. And you also have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be destroyed. And you have the elect that will be scattered abroad in different countries that will be saved, and who the world ignorantly and willingly calls black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Cubans, right? Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians, right? We are the Israelites, man. I'm the brother Yahawashi, come back at y'all, you know, with a lesson, like a driving in transit lesson, you know, kind of like a spiritual rant, you know, kind of like a, it's almost like a response to, you know, the elders video in Mississippi. I was just listening to it, and I think it was entitled "Pray, Pray, Pray." You know, he was talking about exalt Yahawashi, which that's what we do all the time, but we got to do that more and more. You know, but it made me think about what I seen. I think it was either 5 or 6 years ago. Like I said, this is gonna be like in transit. You know, just kind of like a spiritual rant. You know, so I'm driving, so I can't really read scriptures, but I'm gonna quote them. But you know, but when he was talking about that, you know, the lesson, you know, and call Allah, Yahawashi, hey, the Lord had him, you know, do a lesson, and you know, it inspired me to do this lesson to talk about Yahawashi even more, you know. But it made me think about what I seen, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, when I was at the plantation. I was at work. You know, I was working at a job to where, you know, you lift packages, and, you know, that's like the main job, but I was like kind of doing something else, you know, around planes. But I seen like this big semi truck when I was driving, you know, at the job or whatever, you know, and it said Yahawashi. It was like huge on there though. And this is before I was even with the brother that I camp with now. This is before I even met him. You know, I was in the truth, but I wasn't following GMS like that. I was, but I wasn't, you know, just with GMS brothers, you know, yet. But I was watching a lot of the younger elders, you know, videos. I seen a lot of the younger elders videos, you know. Then I started seeing more of the elders and apostles videos at this time, around 2020, 2021. But, you know, when I seen Yahawashi on the side of that truck, it made me, you know, get cry a little bit, man. You know, it made me get emotional, because that's what we do, man. That's what we doing, is exalting our Lord Yahawashi, man. And our Lord Yahawashi, he's gonna save us. You know, Lord willing, we're part of that number, right? He's gonna save the elect, right? It's all about Jacob, man. You know, I'm passing a sign that said Jacob. I done seen another sign too. It said Jacob's Creek, man. It's about to be Jacob's world, man. Israel's world, right? Our world is up next, but hey, to get to that world, we gotta push Yahawashi, man. You know, we gotta preach this truth. We gotta exalt the Lord, man, because without him, we're nothing, right? He's the one that gave us the faith and the spirit to believe, you know, on him, right? And to do the things that please him, right? Without our Lord Yahawashi, we wouldn't have had a way back to the Father, man, Yahweh. You know, so you know, we do need to be doing, you know, as much as we can, right? You know, even though ultimately it's predestinated who's a part of the elect and who's not, but the elect are going to do the things that please the Lord, and they're going to stay diligent. They're not going to fall off, right? They're going to constantly be focused and meditating upon Yahawashi, you know, constantly. They're not going to be too worried and focused on things of the world. They're not going to let the cares of the world distract them from this truth, right? They're not going to buck up against you know, the 100% truth, right? What the scriptures say, they're gonna fully be committed, man, no matter what. They're not gonna let their, you know, their family in the world stop them, or whoever they know, or no, they're gonna be committed, man, 100%, 144%. You know, but we gotta keep doing this thing until, hey, we either the Lord take the spirit out of our body, or hey, we endure today. We see our Lord Yahawashi, because we firmly believe that our Lord Yahawashi, hey, he's going to descend from the heavens, you know, with the chariots, which are so-called UFOs, is what Esau calls them, or UAPs. That's another name he calls them. But the chariots of the Lord, those are angels inside of them, right? But we firmly believe that our Lord's coming back in this lifetime, man. I mean, there's not a lot of prophecies that had to take place, man. A lot of prophecies have already came to pass, you know. So, you know, we're not going into another captivity. I mean, when you read in the book of Daniel, right, you know, we've already went in those captivities. I believe that's what Daniel, the 2nd chapter. You know, elders and brothers can correct me on that if I'm wrong, you know, as far as about the you know, the dream that that Nebuchadnezzar had. You know, we're in that last part of the statue, right? You know, that's what time we're in now. And we're in Esau's word. Edom is ruling. What does the 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 9 say? It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see, so, and Esau ain't the Arabs, man. You know, Esau is the so-called white man, which we know we have Israelites that look and appear so-called white, and that look and appear to be like any other nation. We know that, so we try to spirit by the spirit. So every person that looks white, they're not an Edomite, but you know, a good amount of them are Edomites. But you know, that's why you gotta try the spirit. 1 John 4:1, if I'm not mistaken, right? But you know, man, going back to what I was seeing, man, when I seen that, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, man, you know, I was shocked. I was very surprised. I didn't expect to see that. And now that I'm thinking about it now, you know, I'm thinking about it now. I don't know if it was a person that did that or not. I have no idea. You know, it may have been an angel that did that, man. You know, just to boost my faith. You know, and not only mine, the fact that I'm doing this video, you know, boost the hopefully Lex faith as well. You know, you very few sisters that believe, you know, if you may come across this video, you know, our Lord Yahawashi is coming, man. There's no need to, there's no need to, you know, fret, you know, because of evildoers. There's no need to worry, man. You know, our Lord Yahawashi, he's got us, man. You know, things are gonna get bumpier. The road is gonna get rougher, but it is what it is. You know, but as soon as these devils, man, start doing what they're gonna do, put their hands on it, then that's when the Lord's gonna show his power, man, through his men. And we firmly believe that. You know, we firmly believe that. You know we don't have a lot of time left in this kingdom, right? You know, and every day, you know, prophecies coming to pass. You know, I know I ain't the only brother, you know, that scrolls on TikTok, you know, and you see videos of just different Jakes talking about the truth. You know, they may not be out teaching. You know, you got a lot of Jakes playing games, but you got a lot of other nations talking about this truth too. I've been seeing that a lot. You know, and with this you know, Nolan Wells thing, man, you got a lot of Jakes, you know, talking about this thing, man, on the internet. You got a lot of other people talking about it too, man. So this truth is out there, man. So don't nobody have no excuse to say, oh, I didn't know. No, you did know. You know, like I said, I've seen that 5 or 6 years ago. So how much more closer are we to Yahawashi returning, you know, now? It's 2026, so-called, right? You know, we're in July. I think it's July 25th or something, 26th, so-called, right? So how much more now that we have to be fervent for our Lord YASHAMIAHLA? And I'm talking about myself first and foremost. You know, hey, we gotta keep our first love, man. This is our first woman, man, and this, you know, waking up to this truth, man. This is our woman, Sophia, right? Yeah, we handle what we gotta handle on the physical, carnal level, but you know, we gotta stay locked in the spirit, man. You know, We don't want to be one of the men that fell off, or, you know, it get to the end and, you know, you just playing games. No, we don't want to be like that. We want to be, I want to be found, you know, doing the Lord's will when the Lord comes back. I want to be found, you know, worthy, you know. Well, technically, you know, really we all deserve death, but, you know, I just want to be a part of the elect, man. It don't, you know, it don't have to be, you know, the top of the elect. I just want to be saved, you know. And I know other brothers and elders and apostles feel that same way, you know, and other brothers, you know, that believe in this thing, man. So, you know, we just waiting on our Lord Yahawashi, and we gotta occupy till he say enough is enough, man. You know, we getting real close to that time, real close, right? There's gonna be more false flag attacks. There's gonna be false accusations, but that's all a part of this truth, man. You know, we gonna see who really believe. You know, when that really starts happening, right? When they put your face on TV, it could be on national news, world. Who knows? We don't know how it's gonna go down, right? Persecution, because that's a part of this truth, man. You know, it's not just, oh, we know we Israelites. You know, we keeping the feast days. We go out to camp, and that's it. Then we're gonna be delivered. No, there's another part of that. There's another part. There's a balance, man. You gotta experience the bitterness. You know, there's a bitter part of, you know, you coming in. Maybe some of us came in with a brother that we knew from in the world, and they fell off, and you still in this thing. That's bitterness. You know, you ain't like you want to see Jake, you know, go down. You know, you don't want to see Jake die, but I mean, that's what's gonna happen. You know, the Lord don't break you up to this truth to, you know, to have you keep being a nigga, or to not believe. You got to keep being in this thing, you know, until it's over. You know, but and it's almost over. Now, Lord Yahawashi, he's gonna appear, man, very soon. The same way he left, right, on a chariot, on a so-called UFO, right? Hey, he ascended, he went up into heaven, and he's gonna descend in a chariot, right? So, you know, that's what we waiting for, man. You know, but we gotta occupy till he comes, right? You know, you don't want to be one of the men that had they talents in the napkin, man. You want to be out there distributing this word. You know, that's what this is about, man. Exalting our Lord YASHARAHLA. He's coming very soon. You know, miracles are gonna happen. All these things are gonna happen. You know, and they are already happening. You know, but as we get closer, we gotta stay locked in, man, because there's gonna be more trials, more, you know, temptations, more all of these things, but we got to stay locked in, man. You know, so I just want to do a quick, like, you know, video kind of response to that elder's video. It was like a testimony, really, as far as on my behalf, because I remember that 5 or 6 years ago, but like I said, I wasn't with the brother teaching, you know, the brother Yeshaya that I'm with teaching now, and, you know, I wasn't with him around that time. I think I've been with him for about maybe 4 years, maybe. But this is like right before I got with him. I remember I seen it on the side of the truck. It was like, it was written not with like a marker or like a pen, like nothing that you can write, but like, you know how if brothers ever like went to the beach and you write something with your finger. That's how it looked, but it was huge though, and they said Yahawashi on it. So this wasn't something somebody just wrote down. It was really big. I know that was meant for me to see that, because I seen it, and it just drove past me. I'm at work. I'm at a big facility, you know. So either I don't remember who was driving the truck, you know, maybe it could have been a Jake. I don't know, but either way, hey, the Lord had me to see that, man. Hey, call hello, your best friend shot, man. You know. But I'm gonna close out, man. You know, hey Jake, keep the faith. Pray for more wisdom and knowledge. You know, we almost up out of here, man. You know, our Lord Yahawashi coming soon, man. Call hello, your best friend shot. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, great millstone. The next time I want to say, Abba Babo, Shalom.